future. All the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them. Only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
Throughout time, we all have had at least one thing in our lives that has haunted us or struck fear in us. Maybe it's still striking fear now. Fears like heights, monsters from movies or video games, fear of a disease, or even a fear of dark areas, or rather what's in the dark, I guess, are all fears we can experience throughout the course of our lives. With that in mind, I want you to picture this. 5 years ago, in late 2018 through early 2019, you are a child who just got introduced to religion, particularly that of the Catholic religion via church. As this child is learning about the ways of the religion, how it works, and why people worship this deity known as God, you take a dive into an entire rabbit hole on the matter, to the point where you take it upon yourself to be taught First Communion, one of the biggest steps you could ever take on your religious journey in order to fully attend church and take this thing they call the Eucharist, which you don't know one thing about it until, well, you're taught about it. Then, months after being taught about this religion, you finally get past all the First Communion stuff, are baptized, and then you fully get to attend church in this manner with your fellow Catholics around you, following supposedly good morals and educating yourself even further. However, not even a whole week after you achieve these successes, your obsession with diving into the rabbit hole goes too far and shoots yourself in the foot. You then realize the cruel truth about something you didn't even take into account too much at the start of this journey. The thing that all Catholics, no, most religious people in general, have come to fear. The thing that Jesus sadly speaks about more than the great reward of heaven itself. The complete opposite, where everything bad that can happen will happen in the form of a punishment for eternity, for sins that you didn't even know would lead you there to begin with. Hell. And this child we speak about is none other than me. For an entire week or two after becoming religious, my deep dive into this rabbit hole backfired. What happened was I thought this underworld, or the opposite of heaven, wasn't that bad, or it's too difficult to go there anyways, or both. I was wrong. For that period of time, I was looking up videos on YouTube that more or less visually depicted what hell looks like, and what happens down there, and me not researching this before I started my journey felt like I made a big mistake. Because now that I was going down the path of religion, I knew there was no turning back. Vile videos that I would see of people falling into lava pits, being impaled, being cut up like slabs of meat, being crushed constantly by abnormally heavy objects, and much, much more. Reading the stories of people's testimonies about how they allegedly been to hell and back after being in a hospital near death, or comparing things in the Bible and Revelations to how they were in these videos, I grew a massive fear that haunted me even at night. But the worst part about watching these videos was seeing demons torturing these souls and looking at how they can possess people still living in the real world. Seeing how hideous and scary looking they are in the videos, and how violent they are towards humans and the souls that are in hell, this was a cherry on top of it all that sparked my fear of hell and nightmares enduring the day, worrying that I could die at any time, and refusing to do or say things out of my comfort zone over fear of sinning in order to end up in a place like this in the first place. I became a very paranoid Catholic man in those 2 weeks, especially since my grandfather passed away before this, and I only became more worried about which afterlife he was fated to go to. However, after those 2 weeks were over, me, still being the one to indulge in a lot of video games at the time, stumbled across this one game on Steam known as Doom, specifically Doom 2016. I had bought the game because it looked fun, and had a PC that could run it. After playing the game for a while, I stopped and also read the lore of the game as well, and then things changed around in a completely different way. This game I was playing was more than just a fun run-and-gun shooter. It was a fear conqueror, and not just a conqueror, a complete dominator of it. This game was about how demons are your main enemy, and how you must kill them to beat the game, which is a surface-level understanding. Moreover, after reading the lore about who you play as, that being the Doomslayer, changed my view of hell as fearing it to completely ripping apart demons' skulls and limbs in my dreams, and doing worse things to them than they were to the humans in those hell depiction videos. This experience was something I never felt before. As before, I learned to greatly fear this place. However, the reason for triumph was because I got to play a game that's described as, you aren't trapped in this place with the demons, rather they're trapped in this place with you, which perfectly summarized why not only the game, but the character of the Doomslayer is something I really appreciate even to this day. The demons in the lore actually fear you, saying those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
The first battle, when the shadows first lengthened, one stood, burned by the embers of Armageddon, his soul blistered by the fires of hell, and tainted beyond ascension. He chose the path of perpetual torment. In his ravenous hatred, he found no peace, and with boiling blood, he scoured the unknown plains, seeking vengeance against the Dark Lords who had wronged him. He wore the crown of the Night Sentinels, and those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
Those were the words I needed to hear. I then learned that demons aren't something to fear, rather to conquer, and all the brutal glory kills in Doom only gave me more confidence against the thing that so many Catholics fear, and now being turned into something that fears a very Catholic man himself. Not only did this help me with my fear of hell, aka hadephobia, it also helped me with my other fears on Earth, like standing up to bullies that came my way, or people that could be perceived as a threat. The Doomslayer is a character that also helped me do more things in my life, like getting into working out, martial arts, and computer programming. And I can't thank him anymore, as well as the talented team at id Software. And with all that said, I can't wait to see what they have in stock with Doom: The Dark Ages.